Yeah, my name is Taylor Roberts. I am the guitar player for the band Taproot. I am also the lead singer and guitar player for the band Riding with Killers, and we just released our debut record, Full Circle, this past December, and you can find it on every online outlet from Spotify to Apple Music and everywhere in between.
Fantastic.
And Hostility is on FM radio right now, so request that wherever you
Nice.
are. Request Hostility. Please do it.
Well, I'm going to get off. I'm going to request it as soon as we finish talking. How's that?
Hell yeah, I love it. Love it.
Because as you mentioned, mate, late last year, Riding with Killers released your debut album, Full Circle. So it's been out probably nearly 5, 6 months now. So how's the reception been?
Dude, it's been pretty good, man. You know, we haven't I don't feel like we've truly dug in yet, but with the things that we're doing, we're seeing an incredible response. You know, as I was saying, Hostility is at rock radio right now. And I'm not a rich guy. I don't have a record label. I don't have rich parents. I don't have rich friends that just throw money at me. But I essentially threw a pebble at rock radio with that song, and the response we're seeing. We have stations like Will Rock in Chicago, 101 The Riff in Detroit, picking up the single, and we're starting to make some decent moves around the charts. So, it's letting us know that we definitely have something real here. And funny enough, another song we had talked about doing as a single, Don't Fade Away, and even the company I'm working with, they suggested that song too. We've started to see that song just rise recently. Like we went from, like, I don't know, like 6,000 plays to 20,000 plays within a matter of a couple days. So people are finally starting to hear the music. I feel like it's starting to get out and make the rounds, and I think it's turning people's heads. Like I feel like we're starting to finally get recognized, and people are starting to be like, "Hey, who is this?" And it's paving a really good path for us to start getting on the road and hitting these places that are showing us some love and really digging the material.
So along those lines, bro, like you've been in the music industry for a while and you've seen all the changes come and go. So how do you actually gauge the success of a release in the modern age? Like back in the old days, it was pretty easy, but these days there's so many different platforms.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you look at Spotify numbers and you see them climbing, because I mean, I'm not paying for, plays or views or paying to get on playlists or anything like that. So, like, when I start to see organic growth like that, and then, you know, uh, the fact that we headlined a city, we headlined Lansing, Michigan the other day, and we had the venue three-fourths sold out. Like, and we've never played there before, much less headlined, um, and on a Sunday night. So, like, the fact that people are starting to come out to shows, and we're getting just more interactions online, and now we're starting to see our T-shirts out in the wild more and more. It just there's little things here or there that are really, tall tale signs, and just interacting with fans, and with people that'll randomly hit me up throughout the day and send me like the most amazing message, saying how the music is, connected, or how they've connected to the music, and how it's, relevant to their lives in whatever way it might be. So the fact that I know that this is starting to reach people, it's moving slowly, but it's real, and I would rather take that route at the end of the day, and just that slow organic growth. But it is still growth, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down.
Yeah, very cool. So tell us a bit about Full Circle from a musical point of view and what you were going for with the album.
So, for me, like Full Circle, that was me essentially perfecting a sound that I feel like I've been working on since I was a kid. Um, like, just guitar wise, it's what I've always done, but it feels more mature. I also got to work with some of the most incredible musicians. You know, Dave Coughlin did all the drums, and he's the drummer for Sponge. You know, Detroit local legends. He also played for Taproot. You know, he was their touring guy for a while, which is how we met. And then I got to work with Tim Krukowski, previously of Sponge, and a phenomenal musician and a bass player. And then James Laskew did, I would say, about 60 or 70% of the bass on that record as well. So, you know, I really got to step it up with the musicians that I was getting to record with and that I had in the studio with me to help get these ideas out. And ultimately, you know, being around people that are as professional and badass as all three of those guys, like, I feel like it made me play better, it made me play harder, and it also made me play smarter, you know. And I feel like musically and sonically, like compared to what my older projects were, I would say mature is the best word that I can use to describe it, because it feels like I finally have, you know, some really just solid good songs that, you know, aside from, you know, the lyrics musically, it's fun.
You mentioned that you've just recently released Hostility, bro, but I did. It just shows the quality of the songs on the album that you're still releasing singles from it nearly 6 months after releasing it. So, is there more to come, or is Hostility wrapping up the cycle, so to speak?
So I would say we're still kind of riding the tail ends of the waves of Hostility, but I am still planning on releasing more singles, especially with the response, like I mentioned earlier, you know, we're getting from Don't Fade Away. Um, you know, so I definitely want to do something with that when it comes to rock radio. I'm about to release a lyric video for that song. I've got a music video for DNA that we're getting ready to release next month. So I mean, I still want, even though the album's out and, you know, the songs are out there, I still want each song that I believe in to have its day, if you will. You know what I mean? Like, give it its own special thing. Like, I still want to do music videos for probably two or three more songs on the record, and I feel like there's stuff that I can continue doing with these songs over the next 12 months if I really want to, and I probably will, because again, like I said, I feel like each of these songs, you know, has their own story to tell. And, you know, I'd be cutting myself short if I didn't try to turn it into visual art as well. So there's definitely more to come surrounding this entire record. And next year, I'm looking to meet up with Jenny Nord. When she comes over from Sweden, she was the female vocalist on In Silence, and we're definitely going to be shooting a music video together. And we've talked about doing some live performances together. So I'm hoping that means that, you know, Riding with Killers will be doing some stuff with Rave the Requiem. Really great band out of Sweden. So there's plenty more to come over the next year for sure. And I've already completed the second record as well, so I've got that hanging out. You know, we're about to start the mixing process for that. I'm working on album art for that as well. So I mean, there's plenty down the line, and then of course, you know, with that, it'll be music videos, more lyric videos, and then you know, in the interim, start working on getting the band on the road, and, you know, running towards more touring and getting out of our area.
So, how would you say Full Circle differs musically to your debut EP, Get In?
Um, well, for one, I had a little more time and practice to become a singer. And I had a little more time of actually getting to write some lyrics and work with some people that really helped me along the way. But you know, Get In was my first attempt at being a singer, because I was just like, all right, I'm gonna take shots in the dark, and I'm gonna just, whatever happens happens. And you know, with Full Circle, I feel like that was me articulating my ideas and, you know, expressing what was in my head and heart much better. You know, I had been in front of the microphone a couple of times, you know, and I had a little bit more confidence, and I just I also got to spend way more time on those songs too. So you know, again, I'm gonna go back to mature. You know, I feel like it's just better songwriting, and you know, because that was always my thing, man. Is I can write you a guitar riff, I can write you a song structure, but as far as being a vocalist and finding melodies and singing them and getting them out properly, like it's taking, I'm still learning, you know, like I'm in vocal lessons now, and I'm working on just making my voice better. So I'm hoping that I can continue that maturity through my songwriting. But yeah, man, I feel like I was just able to express myself a little bit better, and I had more time to think on the songs.
Yeah. I suppose along those lines too, bro, like you say, you weren't initially a vocalist, but you've become one to do this. But does have you found that having to sing and play at the same time has affected your guitar playing at all? Or like, does it impact how you go about that?
I mean, I definitely approach guitar playing a lot differently to a degree, but at the same time, I still feel like I'm writing weird, intricate stuff like I was doing with my older bands, but I also didn't want to just regurgitate the same songs. But I mean, I do have to be conscious of, you know, the fact that I'm singing and playing guitar at the same time. And but I'm also to a point of where, like, if we track it, I'll learn it and I'll do it. So I don't think I'm limited by any means whatsoever. I do think that my style took a little bit of a left turn from my previous bands, but that was because I didn't want to be this band that was backed by, like, you know, 10 tracks of orchestra and whatnot. And that was what my old band was, I guess, starting to go towards. I wanted to be more of like a rock band, like Alice in Chains, or, you know, Corn, you know, and yeah, they have a little bit of the EDM elements, but at the core of it, they're a rock band. And I I would say that was why my guitar style change was I wanted to be more of a guitar driven rock band. So um and especially like with some of the newer material, like there's a lot of weird stuff that I'm gonna have to learn, and you know, to sing and play. But I like the challenge, man. It's fun, you know. It's not it, and if it's not easy, that means it's gonna be worthwhile at the end of it once I finally nail all of it. So yeah.
Sure. Now I've got to ask, bro, like with the band name Riding with Pillars, like when you first started, did you ever have anyone show up to your shows expecting a brutal death metal band? Because you don't sound like a rock band.
You know, that's actually I don't I've actually not had anyone tell me anything like that, but I think because of the bills that we've been on, like the first show we actually did, well, I mean, first show we did was for sure microphones. We did a showcase with them, but like our first like live show after the pandemic was with Seven Dust and Tremonti.
Wow.
So we kind of fit in that category, and it worked, you know. But I think it's one of those bands that, like, you know, over time it'll just kind of be like, okay, that is the rock band Riding with Killers. But I haven't had anyone tell me they thought I was going to be a death metal band just yet. No, that's a first.
Well, there you go. And how was it playing with Seven? I fucking love Seven Dust, bro. That would have been a great show.
Dude, it was awesome, man. We had a great time with those guys, and Tremonti, I love his solo stuff, and he's just the nicest dude ever. I mean, like, we were hanging out backstage, and then he just walks up to us and starts like a 25-minute long conversation, and we're like, oh fuck, that's Mark Tremonti, what? And then the rest of his band walked up, and we started talking about guitars and gear and nerding out, and it was just like, wow, like, you know, because I mean, dude, like, dude has what, platinum records, and one of a couple of the biggest bands in the world, and he just walks up and just starts hanging out. It was a very, very good show. We had a great time with both bands. Seven Dust Crew is awesome as always. And one of their guys even bought one of our shirts. That was
Wow.
really cool when you start seeing guys from that camp like grabbing armor. And I was like, oh, I'll give you one. And they're like, no, fuck that. We're paying for it. And it was like, that's awesome. So, it was a really cool time with those guys. We've done quite a few cool shows, man. Like we've only, I think we're not even to 10 shows just yet, but I mean, we've done festivals with Three Doors Down, Seether, Nonpoint, club dates with 10 years, uh, and quite a few others, man. It's been a good start to this band for sure.
Oh yeah, brother. Well, hopefully she keeps on going, mate. But in the meantime, the album Full Circle is out now, and I had to listen before the interview, man. I really, really enjoyed it. It's a good album, bro. So hopefully we hear much more from you in the future.
Absolutely, Chris, man. Thank you so much for having me and for spinning us and believing in what we do, man. I really enjoyed hanging out. It's just stoked to have a conversation with someone on the complete opposite side of the world. So just thank you very much for having me as a guest, brother.
My pleasure, bro. And hopefully we'll see you out here sooner rather than later, and we get to commit to what we decided.
Hey man, dude, I'm telling you, dude, if there is an avenue for me to come play Australia, I will exhaust all my means to get there. So if there's a will, there's a way. So it's just a matter of time at this point.